This video is going to be kind of unique for me. It's going to be a lot of talking and not much else. It's probably not going to be that stunning on the visual side either. I say probably because I haven't made the visuals before recording this. So yeah. I'm going to be going through my most recent animation at the time of uploading this video, Moving On. Because of the nature of this video, I highly suggest watching Moving On before continuing. Otherwise, A, you won't know what I'm talking about, and B, you'll be spoiled for the ending if you care about that. There is a link in the iCards over here, as well as in the description down below. Well, since you're still here, I guess I'll have to assume that you've already seen the animation, or that you've come back from watching the animation, in which case, thank you. I'm gonna get this out of the way right up front. This video is not me coming out as a furry. I say this because I know that one very specific person would make that comment. And I also know full well that the same very specific person will likely make said comment anyways, just to spite me. So this video is going to be kind of long, and you may not be interested in all of it, so I've split it up into some more manageable chunks. You can skip to the next section via the video bar, if I figured out how to do that on YouTube, or by going to the time codes listed over here and in the description. So with that, let's get started. So I was going to start with a section on the process of making this animation, but it didn't really fit in with the rest of the script in any coherent way. Also, I had way more to say than I wanted to for this video. So, I mean, if there's enough interest in a retrospective video about the animation, then I may make one. I give no promises, but the offer is out there for any of you who are interested. So now that we're done with all of that introduction nonsense, let's get on to the real meat of this video. So, first of all, I want to go over the general info and lore behind the animation. What in the world is even happening during this thing? I don't really expect anyone to understand what went on in the animation, and looking back after finishing it, there isn't much explanation within the animation itself. I mean, when I started this thing, I thought that it was all so clear, but editing the thing together showed a lot of the shortcomings in my storytelling. So, I'm gonna go over that, hopefully clarify a few things, and then we can get on to what it actually means. So, light in the sky, blah blah blah, magic portal, blah blah blah, fancy new character, form, design, whatever the heck that thing is. But what does it all mean? A lot of things. Let's get down some ground information first, so I don't bombard you with, random nonsense that you don't know what I'm talking about. So our main and only character is this monochrome dragon here. She's a fan character of mine named Summerhaze. She was made to be part of the Wings of Fire universe. For basically since I started drawing, she's been a representation of me in the Wings of Fire universe and fan base. A loose persona of sorts. She's the first fan character that I made, and really any character that I made. But this character, who's revealed at the end, what is her deal? This is Nova. She probably won't be filling the same space as Summerhaze did as a persona. Maybe a mascot of sorts of the channel if she gets lucky. I mean, probably not. But the story behind Nova is intertwined with the portal, so we'll cover that first. The portal that Summerhaze finds in the animation is actually a transition point into an interdimensional plane, which is what we see in the background of the final shot. The images that you see behind Nova are other dimensions which can be traveled to via this plane. It's a lot of just lore stuff, and essentially just a plot device that I can use to input Nova into another dimension, into another fan base or a story that I'm writing. That's essentially the only reason why Nova exists. Yeah. Anyways, back to the point. This interdimensional plane, if any living beings come into it, they take on a new shape that's representative of their truest self, quote-unquote, which is why Summerhaze transitions into Nova. which is a truer representation of herself, not necessarily version. And because Summer Hayes was my way of representing myself in the Wings of Fire universe, and she is now Nova, Nova is now closer to me than Summer Hayes was. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well. I know that I said that Nova won't be filling the role of Sona that Summer Hayes did, and she won't. She's more of a self-insert character than a character that is actually me. That didn't explain a thing, but it's essentially Nova, how I will be treating her is just as a character with her own stories to tell, but a character that I can relate to and insert myself into whenever I feel like it. So yeah. Some of you may be asking, why did this portal show up? What did it come from? Where will this all lead? It's very anticlimactic. In short, plot convenience? No idea, and it depends on the story. So this animation is very special to me for many reasons, and it represents a lot of different things. First of all, this is the first time I've ever finished an animation of this caliber. Everything in it was made by me except for the bass sound effects and music, and even then I did some minor sound tweaking to make it fit the project. It took many, many months of planning and work and post-production, which I hate with a passion, but I'm so happy that it's finally finished. But what does the story itself mean? As you can probably guess by the title, the story is about Summer Hayes, and by extension me, moving on from other things into a new territory. I first thought of this project as a way to distance myself from the Wings of Fire fandom. I'd fallen out of love with the series as a whole, and my art was pretty limited to dragons, and I'd garnered the reputation of the dragon girl amongst my family and friends. So all of that made me want to expand my horizons away from Wings of Fire, and because of other personal reasons within the fandom as a whole, I felt that that was the best thing for me to do, was to leave the fandom. Originally, I was just gonna leave and keep it as that, but then what would happen with Summer Hayes, this character that I made when I started doing art? Like, what would happen to her? Would she just be stuck in a fandom that I didn't care for anymore? So, like, she was my first real character, and it just felt wrong to abandon her. And I know if you're not an artist or a storyteller, it sounds really silly to have that kind of attachment to a character that you've made. Like, just make another one, it's fine. But, yeah, I didn't want to just abandon her. So, instead, I came up with a way to bring her out of her original universe in a way that I can incorporate into really anything that I want. But this animation is more than just me being able to take a character into a new place. The story itself represents me, myself, leaving behind a lot of other things as well, not just the Wings of Fire fandom, because that's kind of shallow, and I wouldn't invest 6 months just to do that. And this year, or 2020, marked the first time that I'd lived away from home. I graduated high school in 2020, and I moved to Utah to go to college. And from me living 18 years, my entire life, in the same house in the same city, moving from Southern California to Utah, which is such a big difference, it's a lot. And anyone who has moved away from home and has started living on their own can tell you that it's a big change. So this story is representative of that as well. It's also me moving away from dragons in my art. Something you have to understand, I started drawing because of dragons, and for years that's been a mainstay of my artwork. But as time moved forward, it was so limiting to what I could make. There was no improvement in my artistic skills for like years, and the people around me began to see me as just the chick who likes dragons. Like that one phrase summed me up entirely. That's how I started to feel anyways. I highly doubt that people actually thought that of me, but it felt wrong. Like, dragons was all that I was. So, breaking away from that, and hopefully shedding that stigma that people may or may not have actually had about me, that's another reason why I made this animation and why it's so important to me. So the third and final major reason is it's kind of insignificant compared to the other ones, but I'm leaving DeviantArt. It may strike you as strange, like it's just a website, right? It's just a website where you post art. Just go to a new place, get a new account, it's fine. And I mean, I can see the logic behind that, but DeviantArt is where I started with art. Like, some of my first drawings that I did were found on that website. It's also where I made connections with a lot of amazing people, and the only way that I can actually keep in touch with some people that I've met, because the forums that we talked on have been taken down. And it's also where some of you may have found me and my art and my YouTube channel. It's been 5 years since I made my account, and leaving all of that behind was admittedly kind of difficult. I say kind of because the UI change that came with Eclipse made it very easy to dislike. So a lot of the people that I love to talk to and that I made a relationship were just like up and out of there. So regardless, DeviantArt was a place where I could just post my art and talk to people. And now I'm gone. I've left DeviantArt. Now that we've gotten all of that stuff out of the way, moving forward, what can you and I expect of this channel, of my art in general? So this YouTube channel has mainly been for speed paints and the very, very occasional animation or animatic. Going forward, I don't think much will change, but you may see more animations in the future. Not this caliber of animation, because this thing took so long to make. But I have quite a few ideas for smaller animations that will take like a month or two. So I have a lot of those ideas and I've been wanting to do them, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So look forward to seeing some of those in the future. Maybe I'll even do a few non-drawing art projects. Like, I really like woodwork, and maybe I'll try my hand at sculpting or something. And there's a bunch of other art projects that I could try my hand at. But right now, I'm a broke college student, so that probably won't happen anytime soon. But you may see that. We'll honestly just have to wait and see what happens, because I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just kind of doing stuff and hope that people like it. So, I mean, we'll try new things, see what happens, and hopefully I don't drive too many of you away in the process. I may also start streaming non-art things, like maybe gaming or just like chatting with people. We'll have to see about that. I'm not entirely sold on the idea, because I get very loud and annoying when I'm playing games, so like, I don't think anyone would actually want to watch that. I have two more things to mention. One is an announcement that will make one very specific person excited, and I know that it has already made this one very specific person excited because this one very specific person already knows this announcement. Since I've abandoned DeviantArt as my main platform for posting art, I needed another site where I can show what I've created with the world. That sounded really pretentious, I'm sorry. But I made an Instagram account. The link is in the description as well as in the iCards. It'll function pretty closely to how my DeviantArt worked. Not really any major changes, except a new site, of course, and I might not be interacting with you guys as much, just because I don't know how the site works quite yet. But I hope to see some of you from DeviantArt over there, or maybe if you discovered me on YouTube in the first place, maybe you'll follow me over there for more of my stuff that doesn't get made into speed paints and put on this channel. Just one last thing to mention before I end off. Over the years, I've gone by a lot of different screen names. This channel is I Am a Lamppost, because that was a terrible name, I'm going to be honest. I'm a Lamppost, Whoa Fam from DeviantArt, Some of you may know me as Bison Bacon, and others may remember me as Hemaloris or Dragon Mist 823. I've had a lot of names, and there's very little consistency between my usernames between platforms. It's a problem. But with me changing as much as I have, I don't think that a new screen name should be that big of a deal. I mean, hopefully it's not that big of a deal. And with a new name, I think that a reintroduction is in order. So, hello. My name is Eliza, and welcome to Lamplight Productions.